Premier League is crucial this afternoon, and we have reporters as we're underway. We will keep you fully in touch with what is going on. Villa, Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Tottenham, Brighton and Wolves, Chelsea. Who says every point matters in that ever-changing situation down at the bottom. A win at this stage could give somebody such a real lift and could give a club real momentum. And whilst Leicester are in trouble inside the bottom three, it's not as bad as it was 8 years ago when it really did look bleak at this time of the season. At this exact same stage, they had 19 points, they'd only had 4 victories, they were bottom, and yet somehow Nigel Pearson performed miracles and they won 7 of their remaining 9 games for the Great Escape. They're on the attack. Ricardo Pereira looking towards Vardy, comes out towards Maddison. Maddison twisting and turning left-hand side, sends over the cross, blocked behind for a corner. Positive start.
Very good. Harvey Barnes comes in off that left-hand side, goes into the midfield. Nobody picks him up. He releases it wide. Ricardo sticks one up at the far post for Vardy. Just can't get there. Bournemouth clear the lanes. Corner.
So Maddison is going to take it on that far side, the left. As we look here in the main stand, just left of the halfway line, Leicester City are playing from left to right. He's rolled short to Barnes, back towards Maddison. Maddison curls it in now, headed up rather than away by Mepham. And then there's another Bournemouth head on that will be led out towards Rothwell, and he gets a push in the back there from the blonde-haired Christensen, and it will be a free kick to Bournemouth. He had no reason to foul.
He's just outside on this left-hand side for Bournemouth going forward, just outside the 18-yard box on this left-hand side. No need to foul, going nowhere, got them under pressure. They've just had a corner, gives a free kick and allows Bournemouth to get reorganised in up the field.
So Neto is going to take it. He's in his all-grey goalkeeping outfit, away towards our right-hand side. A lot of the players have actually been drawn towards this main stand. Ouattara with a flick on the header, and then the bushy-haired figure of Fast clears it, goes back towards Fast, leaves it there towards his goalkeeper, and he was charged down very quickly by Solanke. And Everson actually went in for a 50-50 challenge with Solanke, and Everson was fortunate that he came out the stronger.
Well, he was. If I was there, really, he should have cleared his lanes. I don't know why he's there. He's very laid back the way he plays, and there for me the centre-half clears it. Now whether the goalkeeper Everson shouted for it, that's a different story, but that could have easily ended up in the back of the net.
The back pass now by Soumare, and Amati will just say back to Everson. He's started the last 3 in the Premier League. Before that, the Dane was effectively the cup goalkeeper for Leicester City. Yet to keep a clean sheet in the top flight, albeit in the early stages. 2 balls are on the pitch. A young ball boy with his luminous jacket races on and throws it off the pitch. Is now on this near side. The ball is played out by Kelly. Up towards Ouattara, takes it away from Castagna, gets a foot into the challenge. Lerma on the stretch was Christie. It'll run through to Solanke, goes down on the edge of the area. Christensen's given away another free kick. That's 2 he's given away in the opening 2 minutes, and this is in a really threatening position.
Well, there'll be a few queuing up for this, I can say that. Just outside the right-hand side for Bournemouth. It's a definite foul. That's 2 in a row. Christensen, no need at all. It's really sloppy defending. Miss now is asking questions. What a position.
Aberdeen are leading Kilmarnock by a 0-0 at Pittodrie in the Scottish Premiership, where earlier we brought you Celtic going 12 points clear of Rangers after a 3-2 win at Parkhead. And Manchester United beating Everton by 2-0 in the early game in the Premier League. But this free kick for Bournemouth in the bright sunshine, it's right of the D. You've got Billing in there. You've also got Rothwell. Even I think Adam Smith is having a little look as well. Leicester City, not surprisingly, have got every royal blue shirt back inside the penalty area.
Got to say, Ian, left footer ideal. A left footer for me here. Line yourself up as if you're going over the wall. Hit it where the goalie's standing, right hand side. If you hit it hard enough, he's got no chance.
Ouattara moves away. That leaves us with Billing and Rothwell. It is Billing! Oh, that was close, or it looked close. Left-footed, edge of the area, just off target, goal kick, 0-0.
What are you going to say? You know, it's a great strike. from where we're sitting, we all got a great angle here on the replay. Oh, it's at the outside of the post. It's at the outside of the post. What a great effort. I've said if you hit it where the goalkeeper's standing, the goalkeeper's gone to his right, left, can't get back across. He's very unlucky there. But as a manager said to me once, you get nothing for a no.
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
I've got to change my script on it.
That was it. Looked close, and Billing almost got the opening goal of the game. As it stands, we're yet to have who was that manager, incidentally?
Arthur Cox.
That I didn't know. Or if it was, I'd forgotten. And anyway, it's 0-0. But Billing, who incidentally, when Solanke or Billing, 10 of their 12 away goals in the Premier League have either been scored or assisted by Solanke or Billing, and he was extremely close with that free kick. A warning shot for Leicester City. 5 minutes played. BBC Radio 5 Live. If you're out and about this Easter Saturday in the sunshine, providing of course you do have the weather that we have here in the East Midlands, and of course you can always take us with you wherever you go through the BBC Sounds app, as Ricardo plays it forward. Oh, that was sloppy. Samari on the touchline, lapse of concentration, goes out of play for a throw.
They do look a little bit nervous, I've got to say, Leicester, and it's a home game, and you say the home form's not the best. Bournemouth look very relaxed, very confident.
Yeah, their home form, 3 wins, 3 draws, 8 defeats of their 14 games played here so far. They've lost 7 of their last 8 in all competitions since Tottenham Hotspur in February the 11th. Bournemouth have certainly coming forward again. That ball tried to be playing in Solanke from Christie. Fast brings it out of defence. Rothwell wins that ball back in the midfield. Now it's with Christie. To Kelly inside the centre circle. Ouattara on this near side the left, drifts in field, back heels the ball then for Billing, who lays it off. Kelly, they look quite confident at the minute.
Very good. Bournemouth look very good, very relaxed. All options when the man, whoever has the ball, he's got 2 or 3 options. There's a dangerous ball again. Leicester, they're playing the shape of a diamond basic midfield not really tight enough for me. Maddison's got a free role behind Vardy. And I think Maddison's been having his best spell on this right hand side, so I don't know why they've put him into a 10 position today.
Yeah, Ricardo at the minute is the one who's gone quite high up the pitch, wide right. You've got Barnes offering the width on the left hand side, and then as Chris Waddle quite rightly says, Maddison is the one in behind Jamie Vardy. Then Samari and Ndidi are the 2 sitters, so it's like a 4-2-3-1 formation for Leicester City. Christensen, the left back, heads it forward. Here is Ndidi. There's been a goal at Brentford. Katie Smith.
That is Brentford 1 and Newcastle 0. The ball on the left hand side whipped in by Jensen. I think it was Jansen, the captain, who had the initial header. Pope getting so low down to his left, and Tony, 18th goal of the season there, close range to whip it home. Brentford 1, Newcastle 0.
Leicester City are attacking. Ricardo with a cross. Barnes tries to get there, coming in on the left into a central area just inside the penalty area, stabs it down into the ground, and it's picked up by Neto. Saw Brentford in midweek at Manchester United. They were quite flat by their own comparisons. Remember, it was only their 2nd defeat in 17 in midweek, but leading there against Newcastle United. We'll go back to the capital and to North London. Jonathan Overend.
Tottenham 0, Brighton 0. Big chance for Brighton though in the early stages. Corner from the right, swung in by March all the way to an unmarked Mitoma at the far post, and it needed Eric Dyer to clear it almost off the line. 0-0.
And of course Tony scoring against his former club. He had that brief time at Newcastle United. So Brentford lead 1-0. No goals in North London there between Spurs and Brighton. Fulham, West Ham, Aston Villa, Forest and Wolves, Chelsea are the other games at 3 o'clock. We'll be keeping you in touch with here on BBC Radio 5 Live as Kelly just caught a little bit there by Ricardo, but he drops back to Billing.
I actually thought, cut in there. I actually thought Leicester would have come out the blocks really quick, pressed on the first 10-15 minutes, got up the park, asked questions, made them get rid of the ball. They've let Bournemouth settle, and Bournemouth are just grown in confidence. And Leicester, I've got to say, this first couple up to 10 minutes is very poor.
Yeah, and Bournemouth do create chances, don't they?
Oh yeah, yep.
Despite their problems. They lost in midweek against Brighton, but they created a number of chances there for Gary O'Neill. But their away form is a real concern. They've only had one win in their last 11 away in the Premier League, and of course they gave Arsenal a mighty scare during that period before Reece Nelson popped up with that 97th minute winner for Arsenal, who travel to Merseyside, a game you can hear live on BBC Radio 5 Live tomorrow. Now, we told you that Brentford were leading by 1-0. However, Katie Smith,
that has now been chalked off, so it's Brentford 0, Newcastle 0. Ivan Toney ruled to be offside. It's when the ball came in and Janssen got his head to it. Toney just marginally offside compared to Fabian Schär, so we're back to 0-0 here.
So we're still awaiting the first goal of the afternoon. Match of the day tonight, incidentally, BBC One, 10:30. Vardy heads it back. Coming onto the ball now was Barnes. Now it's with Maddison. Maddison left-hand side. He's going to pull it back towards Ricardo. It'll fall to Castagna, who shoots. And he drags it right-footed wide. Goal kick, 0-0.
A little bit better by Leicester, a little bit more urgency, getting players forward. It's a tempo with Leicester. They've started very sluggish, and that's the first time we've saw them go through the gears. Lovely header by Vardy to Barnes, and eventually the shot comes in. Was never going to threaten, but sometimes Bournemouth make their own problems. I mean, simple clearances, simple decisions, and they don't do them.
Motherwell are leading Livingston at Fir Park in the Scottish Premiership by 1-0. Motherwell 1, Livingston 0. Goal kick that Neto is going to take. Right-footed. Samari beaten in the air by Billing, and then Ndidi and Samari both go for the same ball. It drops towards Billing on this near side. He hits it forward towards Solanke, who's shrugged off the ball by Amate, and then Amate will pass the ball to the blonde Christensen on that far side, the left. Into the feet of Barnes it goes, who runs away from Smith, and then Bournemouth actually have got a turnover there, and now all of a sudden it's with Billing midway through the Leicester half, and they can I was going to say they can attack the gap vacated by Christensen, but it went away from Christie, unable to keep the ball in play, and out for a goal kick. 11 minutes played. Leicester City 0, Bournemouth 0. What about Villa Forest, Pat Murphy?
Half a chance at either end, 0-0 for Villa. Watkins clear, cross shot 2 yards past the far post, and then Kouyaté, who's making a difference in midfield, 25 yards on target, shot deflected for a corner. Villa 0, Forest 0.
Don't forget tonight the third round of the US Masters at Augusta from 9 o'clock. Mark Chapman, Ian Carter and co providing us with commentary of that on 5 Live. But of course they're still concluding the second round. The last we heard, John Rahm was 10 under with 2 to play. He was through 16. In fact, he's just birdied the 17th, so he's now 11 under. He's a shot off Brooks Koepka at the top of the leaderboard. 11 under through 17 now is John Rahm, so that's going to make for a very exciting third round. Coverage with Mark from 9 o'clock tonight on BBC Radio 5 Live. 12 minutes played, 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of nerves out there, you can see that. Bournemouth started so brightly. Leicester's just upped the tempo a little bit and coming back into the game.
We'll go across to Molineux now. Frank Lampard, of course, on his return. John Bennett watching.
Yeah, he's on the edge of his technical area as we speak. Wolves 0, Chelsea 0. Confident start by his Chelsea side. Reece James almost had a cross deflected in, but Wolves have had some decent moments of possession as well. Wolves 0, Chelsea 0.
Now, we thought there'd been a goal in the capital, but VAR ruled that one out. So whilst Brentford 0, Newcastle 0 is still the latest, we go to Tottenham. Jonathan Overend.
And we've seen a beautiful strike from Heung Son Min, and it is Tottenham 1, Brighton 0. Son cutting in from an inside left position. The defence just standing off him that little bit too dangerously, and it gave him the chance to swirl it deliciously into the top corner. Lovely goal. Tottenham 1, Brighton 0.
They, of course, still have hopes of catching either one of Newcastle or Manchester United, although Manchester United beat Everton today by 2-0. Out it goes for a throw. It's a throw to Bournemouth, far side the right, still 0-0. And then Rothwell skips out of the challenge from Ndidi. Back it goes to the former Blackburn player, plays it short and forward, gets it back from Christie. Rothwell now to the feet of Solanke with his back to goal, to Billing. Billing had the shot away, and it was actually blocked. The good block falls to Maddison. Early now towards Barnes, but Barnes is surrounded by 5 red and black striped shirts for Bournemouth. He lacks support as the ball now is switched. Castagna on the halfway line. Gary O'Neill patrolling that technical area down below, whilst Adam Sadler and Mike Stowell, the caretaker managers, are taking the more laid-back approach. The two of them in conversation, leaning back in that technical area down below. Incidentally, it's the 6th spell that Mike Stowler's had as a caretaker here at Leicester, going all the way back to 2007. 0-0 it remains. What about the Super League? Lee Salford, Dave Woods.
Lee 6, Salford 16, half-time. A third Salford try, 60-yard break, started by Chris Atkin, finished by Brodie Croft. Brilliant to watch unless you're a Lee fan. So at half-time it's Lee 6, Salford 16.
Thanks, Dave. Bournemouth are forward. Solanke right corner of the penalty area, enters the box now. Shot takes a deflection, wouldn't quite reach Ouattara, and it's cleared up by Maddison. The interception is won back though by Billing, and now Ouattara comes forward once more, loses the ball in the midfield, and Maddison takes over. Castagne plays it forward. Now it's with Samare. He's got Castagne going ahead of him. Infield is Maddison, and it was played fractionally behind him, and that allowed Smith in that inverted right back role just to step into midfield, and Bournemouth have an opportunity to come forward, and Billing finds Ouattara left hand side.
Yeah, and I've got to say it's Ouattara, always a offside. The build up slow, it's easy to play, it's a simple ball weight. He's looking right across the lane, I'm watching him, and he's going offside. There's no excuse for that, and the game's got very sloppy, hasn't it?
Yeah.
1 or 2 passes, the third one goes astray. You want to see players stick their chest out, a bit more confidence and belief.
A lot of errors being committed by both sets of players. Certainly somebody who's not committing many errors is John Rahm. He's making life in the leaderboard very interesting in that second round. Ian Carter.
He is. That birdie you were telling everyone about there, Ian, was from a putt from just off the green on 17, taking him to 11 under par, one behind the leader Brooks Koepka, but also on that 17th a drop shot from Justin Thomas. That has shifted the cut line, and as it stands at the moment, Tiger Woods at 3 over par is going to be here for the final 2 rounds.
Thank you. We'll keep you in touch with the conclusion of that second round, and as we say, the third round tonight, live coverage on 5 Live from 9 o'clock. Castagne near side, leaves it for Samari, gets the ball back from Ricardo, back then to Almate. Incidentally, we welcome listeners from the BBC World Service here to the King Power Stadium in the sunshine in the East Midlands, wherever you are in the world. Always a pleasure to have your company as Barnes infield now to Maddison, rolls it out to Christensen with a cross left hand side, just too far over the head of Jamie Vardy, who kicks the left-hand post with his right foot in annoyance. He must have thought, I'm in here, as he took off in the air.
Good ball in, nice early ball. Vardy, well, what, 6 inches too high for him.
Back to Brentford we go. Katie Smith.
Yeah, it's Brentford 0, Newcastle 0. The home side starting so brightly, but they've had to make an early change. Captain Pontus Jansson taken off the field, holding his right thigh, slapping the floor in tears. So Zanka on for the captain. It is 0-0.
Thank you, Katie. Bournemouth with Kelly on the halfway line, still goalless. Tottenham lead Brighton by a goal to 0. Every game counts in the Premier League this afternoon. Everything's got something riding on it. Here is Rothwell back with Lerma at a gentle walking pace, really. Bournemouth, no pressure on the ball from Leicester City at this stage. Out it goes to that far side, the right. In comes the cross, might fall to Ouattara, cuts inside onto his right foot, back onto his left, and then tries to pull it back towards Billing. Kelly now has it. Can't help but feel that was an opportunity that they couldn't fully grasp. Thinking, why don't you hit it first time?
Yeah, I mean, he's a frustrating player, Ouattara, on his left hand side. He's got, obviously, he's a threat, you can say that, but decision making very poor.
He's only 21 years of age, signed from Lorient. As the cross comes in from the right, met by the firm header, faster headed away. Burkina Faso international. But he thought if he hits it first time with his left, then he went on to his right and then went back onto his left, and the opportunity was lost for Bournemouth. 19 minutes played, Leicester City 0, Bournemouth 0. Fulham West Ham now, Craven Cottage, John Southall.
0-0, Fulham 0, West Ham 0. Just had the first chance of the game for Fulham. Andres Pereira with the deflected shot, just looped wide of the left hand post. Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
Maddison picks it up on the halfway line. The referee, though, who is David Coote, has already given a free kick for Leicester City, which has just been taken inside their own half by Castagne to Fast, just outside the centre circle. Aside from that Billing free kick, we've had nothing.
Some nailies, a couple in the box, haven't there? But you can see the lack of confidence both teams here. When they get in that final third, you know, you're looking at someone like Maddison, Barnes, Billing and obviously Solanke to show that confidence, you know, and be confident about hitting the target and making something happen.
The familiar voice of Chris Waddle, who's with us here at the King Power Stadium, 5 Live, the World Service and BBC Sounds. It's 0-0. Billing to Ouattara. Indeed, he comes back on the cover, gets the foot into the challenge. Out of play it goes for a Bournemouth throw near side the left. Nearly 20 minutes played. Gary O'Neill still giving out the instructions to Rothwell as that throw is taken by Kelly. Goes back to Mepham. Mepham, the Welsh international. Stevens is there if he wants him, and he will find him as well, Jack Stevens. And now forward to Lerma. Smith lifts it up into the air on that right hand side, won't quite reach Solanke. Swept to safety by Farce, and then Mepham deals with the threat of Vardy, and it runs through to Neto. So still 0-0. Tomorrow we've got Premier League, 5 Live Premier League Sunday from midday. Leeds United Crystal Palace at 2, followed by Liverpool Arsenal at 4:30. On Bank Holiday Monday we go back around the grounds in the Football League from 2:30, and then it's the Champions League and the Europa League next week. So Tuesday night we've got Manchester City Bayern, Wednesday Real Madrid against Chelsea, Thursday Manchester United against Sevilla, and then before we know it, it'll be the Grand National. Next weekend will be live from Aintree. Looking forward to the Grand National. Tottenham-Brighton now, Jonathan Overend.
Tottenham leading 1-0. Brighton have had the ball in the net, but after a very long and, very rigorous VAR check, the goal has been, it wasn't given anyway because Darren Cann flagged it as a handball. Mitoma controlled it with his upper arm before volleying in. It would have been a lovely goal, but they had to check it. It took a long time to confirm what pretty much everyone in the stadium knew, that it was a handball. Tottenham 1, Brighton 0.
Ouattara enters the penalty area, and goalkeeper, surely it's got to be a corner kick.
Yeah, he's changed his mind.
It was Amati who had to deal with the presence of Ouattara. The last touch clearly came off the Ghanaian, and then for a moment then the referee said a goal kick, and he's then changed his mind, quite rightly.
Yeah, I think Ouattara's the outball at the minute for Bournemouth, lacking in belief in that final third, but he seems to be the person now, the player who's making the runs or trying to get on the end of things at the moment.
We've got a corner kick then here for Bournemouth. After this corner we're going straight to Craven Cottage, where there's been a goal between Fulham and West Ham, so don't go anywhere. But a corner kick for Bournemouth. It remains 0-0. We're midway through the first half. Near side the left, right-footed corner kick, goes very deep towards the far post, headed out only as far as Billing. Billing shoots! Good save by the goalkeeper. Very good save by Iverson, low down to his left, touches the behind for a corner. Before the next corner can be taken, news of that goal, John Southall.
Big goal for West Ham, Fulham 0, West Ham 1, Jared Bowen on the right hand side, his cross deflected off Harrison Reed and into the bottom left corner. Own goal for Reed, Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
The keeper did well, it took a deflection on its way through.
It did, it took a deflection of Barnes, I think, a slight deflection, and he got himself across that left hand side and pushed it away for another corner. You can see both teams lacking a bit of confidence, but I think Bournemouth look the most likely to score.
Corner's taken short, far side the right. Back towards Billing. Billing's going to shoot again from distance. Closed down this time by Jamie Vardy. Billing is snapping at his heels to try and win the ball back. The referee wants to let the game flow, and in fact has played the advantage, David Coote. And now Barnes is released on this right-hand side. Held up by Kelly. Castagna back to Samari. Switches it now to Christensen, the left back, midway through the Bournemouth half. Back with Farce in the centre circle. A Marty's diagonal ball. Awkward for Ndidi to deal with it. He just bends his knees, leans into it, brings it down off his chest. And back with Farce, who plays a flat ball to try and get Castagna forward on the right-hand side. And then it's headed back by Kelly to
you look at the team in Leicester, and they've gone 3 in the middle of the park who are not creative footballers. So you need Maddison and you need Barnes to get on the ball, but there's nobody can supply them. And it might be the case that Maddison's going to have to go into that middle of the park and try and get on the ball, because there's nothing happening for Leicester.
That West Ham scoreline, actually at this moment in the live league table, elevates them above Crystal Palace into 12 on 13 points. Oh, on 30 points rather. 13 points, blimey. That could send David Moyes apoplectic with 13 points, but 30 points. You would think normally 36 would be the benchmark for safety, but West Ham are leading. Of course, they're involved in Europe in midweek. They've got Ghent in the quarter-finals of the Europa Conference League. They're taking on a Fulham side who are going into that game on the back of 4 straight defeats. But that own goal from Harrison Reed giving West Ham United the lead at Craven Cottage. Tottenham 1, Brighton 0, Wolves 0, Chelsea 0, Brentford 0, Newcastle 0, despite we were thinking earlier that Tony had scored. VAR intervened. No goals at Villa Park, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, and no goals here. We'll check in at Molineux. John Bennett.
Yeah, it's 0-0 between Wolves and Chelsea, but Wolves are gaining in confidence. Totti Gomez had a header straight at the goalkeeper. They also had a penalty appeal turned down. João Gomez, a foul, a tackle by Wesley Fofana, but he just about got the ball. It's 0-0.
Here is Billing forward, an inviting pass to Smith, the right back forward, right hand side of the penalty area, delivers the cross. Ouattara with a downward header. Solanke looking to turn, cleared away by Leicester City. Kelly picks it back up. Well, you can just start to feel the atmosphere turning here at Leicester as the ball is played forward by Rothwell. Ouattara unmarked finds Solanke, and another chance goes a-begging. Well, we said they created chances. Solanke here has the chance to get a left-footed shot low. He's dragged it wide. They've created the best chances.
I've got to say, Leicester, I've got to say, and I look at it, Bournemouth are playing as well as they can play in my eyes, and yes, they struggle to score goals on the road, we know that. They do create chances. They could have been 2-0 up so far. Leicester, the shape of the team, the balance of the team is not right, and you can see that. They can't put 3 passes together. Once they get over the halfway lane going forward, can't see anything happening at all.
No. And you said Ouattara's the outball. He's getting a number of opportunities on this left-hand side, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a lot of space. Because I think Ricardo Pereira, he doesn't like playing wide-ish, and he has to do a role which he's probably thinking, I don't really like doing this, but I'm playing. And he's getting left one-on-one all the time, and it's big problems for Leicester.
Leicester City, they've got Manchester City away next weekend. They've then got Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Fulham, Liverpool, Newcastle and West Ham. It's a very, very tricky run-in for Leicester City. Adam Sadler and Mike Stowell. There's been a lot of names banded around as to who is going to replace Brendan Rodgers, but since the World Cup they are the one side with that fewest points in the top flight. Really alarming run of form, yet to keep a clean sheet throughout that time too, as Ouattara comes inside, and once again he's done well, and he tees up Lerma. Player out wide on that far side is Smith with the cross, and headed away by Amate. Comes back out towards Lerma. Bournemouth are threatening once more. Rothwell goes out towards Kelly, and the penalty at Brentford. Katie Smith.
And it's gone the way of the home side. Ivan Toney, who else, standing over the ball. Nick Pope, arms out wide in goal, and Pope saves down to the right. Ivan Toney has finally missed a penalty for Brentford. It was 22 out of 22, and now he has missed. His goal ruled out earlier as well, so it stays Brentford 0, Newcastle 0.
Yeah, he very rarely misses. In fact, I think I'm right in saying that his last penalty miss, or his only penalty miss, was 5 years ago at Peterborough United. He has got an incredible record, but Toney has missed that one, and Brentford not having the best of days. Toney, a goal disallowed and now a missed penalty.
Don't ask me about them. Now I'll just concentrate on this game. I think there's another ball in behind.
Ouattara is played forward, left-hand side.
His decision making. I tell you what, he's been the outlet for Bournemouth. He's done really well down his left-hand side and getting in positions to cause problems, but his decision making unfortunately for the young man at times, it's not right. He's not making the right decisions. He could win the game here for Bournemouth, the way they're playing.
Yeah, he could. He's certainly causing a number of problems. Just going to try and just find out news of that confirmation of the last time that Ivan Toney missed a penalty, because his record has been absolutely sensational. So only missed for Peterborough in October 2018. So that was, I knew somewhere it wasn't far away, but just confirmation. So that's only his second miss of 28 career penalties. It scored 21 out of 21 previously for Brentford, and therefore Yaya Touré's record of 11 from 11 is the only 100% record, or the better in the Premier League stands. So there we have it. Ivan Toney's missed. It remains 0-0, as it does at Villa Park and at Molineux. But at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham 0, West Ham United 1, and Tottenham 1, Brighton 0. Southampton, Manchester City. Commentary to come from St Mary's on BBC Radio 5 Live after Sports Report here, as the ball goes back. And Leicester City are struggling. However, who's just taken the lead at Molineux? John Bennett.
It's Wolverhampton Wanderers. What a goal. They lead by 1-0 against Chelsea, and it is a brilliant goal by Mateus Nunes. A volley from the edge of the box, got it unmarked, and he smashed it into the back of the net. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0.
So for the teams above, Bournemouth and Leicester City, West Ham are leading, Wolves are leading. Palace and Leeds play at Ellen Road tomorrow night. All of a sudden, results elsewhere at this stage of the season can crank up the pressure, can't they?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, what happens with Chelsea? It's just something not right.
No, there's no fluency about Leicester's play at the moment. It remains 0-0. We'll go back to Tottenham. Jonathan Overett.
Tottenham still leading 1-0, but it's an open match with plenty of chances, and Brighton have hit the post. Moises Caicedo, central position, 20 yards out. Just moments after McAllister's shot had been saved by Lloris at the other end. Højbjerg denied by a sliding challenge by Dunk. Tottenham 1, Brighton 0.
Joe Rothwell's just gone in the book for Bournemouth for a foul on the far side. That's the first yellow card of the afternoon for the player who was picked up on a free from Blackburn Rovers. Spent 4 years at Ewood Park. Here is Ndidi. Turns. The tentative of Leicester City, aren't they?
Got no confidence here, and as I say, I don't think the shape helps them. You've got Maddison, really. Where do you play Maddison? They can't create anything. The three they've got in the midfield are not creative players.
Ouattara coming forward, Solanke ahead of him. Ouattara enters the penalty area. Ouattara runs into a cul-de-sac, and Leicester City are able to rob the ball off him on the edge of the area. Bournemouth have had a number of openings, primarily down the left-hand side with Ouattara, and Leicester just can't get into the game. Now it's Smith coming forward. Gary O'Neill must be standing in that technical area and thinking, we can definitely get something out of this game. Here is Smith. He's overrun the ball. It'll run through and out for a goal kick. The thing is that you've got to take your opportunities when you're on top.
Yeah, they're on top, and you can see Gary O'Neill must be thinking we should be winning this game with a little bit of quality in the final third. As I say, the boy on the left, Ouattara, he's got in great positions. He's causing problems, but his decision making is not been. It's been terrible, I've got to say. But Bournemouth are definitely the better side, more fluent. Let's start. For me, the shape is not right.
We've got 12 minutes to go to half time. Wolves are ahead, Tottenham are ahead, West Ham are leading, and Brentford Newcastle remains 0-0. Goalless here, as it is between Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest. Billing just lifts the ball in the air for Kelly, brings it under control on the halfway line, manages to get away from Castagna, feeds it forward. Ouattara once again in behind the right back with the cut back, and on the edge of the area for Leicester City, it's Barnes running back, who clears, doesn't go out of play. Kelly then plays it back in from the left, might go up towards that far post, headed away by Fars. They're toiling Leicester City here in the sunshine, and you can feel the apprehension is growing louder and louder within the stands of the King Power.
And what's good for Bournemouth, Ian, is that they're bringing Barnes, Maddison very deep, nearly on top of the midfield, nearly on top of the back four. So they're not hurting Bournemouth. They're coming that deep, There's only Vardy who's isolated up front.
This is a Leicester City side that, what was it, 7 years ago, were champions of the Premier League. Those days, a distant memory now for a side really struggling. Ouattara again picks up a loose ball for Bournemouth. And now Solanke takes over, finds Billing making that run in towards the left-hand side of the penalty area, and it runs away from him and out for a goal kick. 11 minutes to go to half-time here. It remains 0-0. We'll go to Villa Park. Pat Murphy.
Game's yet to fire here. It's 0-0. Half a chance to Forest, though. Morgan Gibbs-White, who should have done better, miskicked 15 yards out. Two players have gone off injured. Bailey for Villa, and also Kouyaté, who's becoming more and more influential in midfield. He's gone off injured also. It's Villa 0, Forest 0.
Thank you, Pat. I don't think that hasn't Kouyaté just recently returned as well to the Nottingham Forest side from memory, as Fast picks up that ball on the far side and lifts it forward. Yeah, he's made a couple of appearances off the bench after a lengthy layoff against Wolves and Leeds. Let's get the latest from the Masters. Ian Carter.
John Rahm just finished his round with a bogey at the last. Much of that final hole played in the heaviest rain that we've seen so far. It's eased a little bit now, but that bogey means a round of 69, 10 under par, and so a two-shot lead going into the third round for Brooks Koepka. Back-to-back bogeys to finish for Justin Thomas. He's going to miss the cut at 4 over, but he's opened the door for Tiger Woods to be here for the final 2 rounds.
Thank you, Ian. Coverage tonight of round 3 on BBC Radio 5 Live from Ian, Mark Chapman and the team at 9 o'clock on BBC Radio 5 Live. Cleared away by Everson. It remains 0-0. There's been a second goal of the afternoon in Tottenham. Jonathan O'Brien.
It's 1-1, and it's all too easy for Lewis Dunk on his 200th Premier League appearance at the far post. Right wing corner swung in by March, but it's as simple as that. The corner and the far post header. So Tottenham, what on earth were you doing? Tottenham 1, Brighton 1.
1-1 there. Bournemouth are going to be making a change. Marcus Tavernier is going to be coming on, and Ouattara is the player who's going off. I can only imagine that he's picked up an injury.
Well, I think Gary O'Neill might be so frustrated with him, he's had to take him off, because he's got in positions where at this level of football you actually expect goals from the positions he's been in, the time on the ball. His decision making's been very, very poor, and you know what you're going to get with Tavernier, a very talented footballer.
Well, his older brother James scored twice for Rangers today in that defeat at Celtic. Celtic winning by 3-2. And Marcus, I've got to say, has been in fine scoring form, so he'll hope that can continue and run in the family today. Gary O'Neill actually takes over the ball boy duties, hurriedly picks that ball up down below for Bournemouth to take a throw on the left-hand side. I think he sensed that he wants to see his side get a goal with their dominance before half-time. What about Wolves-Chelsea? John Bennett.
Wolves 1, Chelsea 0, but it should be 2-0 to Wolves. Diego Costa against his old club, yet to score for Wolves. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper Kepa. Fired it straight at Chelsea's number 1. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0.
Motherwell 3, Livingston 0 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Here's Tavernier on this near side, running at Castagna. Gets it forward. Solanke in that penalty area couldn't get a sight of goal. Amati takes it away from him behind for a corner kick. Well, there's only one side looks like scoring here. It's Bournemouth.
It's all down this left-hand side, isn't it, for Bournemouth? Tavernier's come on, yes. Ouattara went off. Oh, unfortunately, he couldn't make the right decisions, and I don't know if he's injured, but it looks like it's a substitution for me. Now, can Tavernier capitalise on it? Because there's so much time and space down this left-hand side.
Certainly looking at a real threat down this near side. Corner kick then to Bournemouth. It remains 0-0. In it goes, crowded area, up the head of Ndidi. Everson then collects it. We'll be very careful with Tavernier just to try and ease him back in. He's made a couple of appearances against Brighton and Fulham. He scored against Fulham recently, 4 goals for the season, but has hardly played at all really since the World Cup. Marcus Tavernier, but he will certainly give them a bit more thrust maybe with that. Oh, that was a poor ball from Maddison, straight towards Billing. Billing's in, Maddison punished, and Bournemouth score. What a mistake by Maddison. Billing seized on it, right-footed, past the advancing goalkeeper. The goal has been coming, and Bournemouth, crucially, have taken it 1-0.
Well, as you said, Ian, you've just said it there, the goal has been coming. They've been very wasteful in good areas, Bournemouth. James Maddison, and we said he's got to get on the ball. He's come very deep looking for it. It's a sloppy pass, and Billings read it, capitalised on it. The goalkeeper's in no man's land. He's just got the simple task of rolling it past him. And I've got to say, Bournemouth have deserved it. Maddison jumps into this midfield area looking for the ball. He gives it away, blind pass, and it's a good finish by Billings. Simple in a way, but a good finish. And they've deserved it, Bournemouth, to be in the best side.
They certainly have. And Billing took the goal very, very well. I mean, Everson was left stranded, because as Chris Waddle quite rightly says, Maddison's played the blind ball, and then Everson's come and he's left in no man's land on the edge of his penalty area, and there was Billing with took it away into the bottom right hand corner. But Leicester City have been so poor. They've lacked invention, there's no fluency, and they've made a number of errors, and that one has just culminated in them now falling behind by 1-0. And the crowd
rightly so. I can see the frustration here. It's like that when things are not going your way, but what they'll be disappointed is the work rate, the commitment to create, to go forward. You're at home, put the team under pressure, and the fans will get behind you. But this has been really so easy first half for Bournemouth.
So Bournemouth are ahead. Let's get an update from the banks of the Thames. John Southall.
Well, it's Fulham 0, West Ham 1. Fulham just trying to find a way into the game. Anthony Robinson on the edge of the area. Good strike, whistled over the crossbar. They are camped in the West Ham half. Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
Well, even when they were ahead, when the game was still drawing technically in the live table, Everton had dropped into the bottom 3 on 27 points after their 2-0 defeat at Old Trafford. But that takes Bournemouth to 30 points, level with Palace and West Ham United. Wolves are on 31. So reading up, you've got Southampton 23, Leicester 25, Everton 27, Forest 28, Leeds United 29. But there is still a lot of football to be played. But for Leicester City, there certainly needs to be some sort of a reaction.
You look at the bench, though, Ian. Have they got a lot they can put in and show up front with Vardy, Daka up front with Arctic, whatever, put them two up, go to 4-4-2. Get Maddison back on his right hand side, see if he can get a bit of space and where he'll deliver quality. At the moment, it's so easy for Bournemouth.
It's the 15th successive game where they failed to keep a clean sheet. The last was West Ham prior to the World Cup. The last time they went on such a run, Peter Taylor was in charge in 2001. But at the minute, there just doesn't appear to be any fight whatsoever from Leicester City. Trailing now by 1-0, and Bournemouth deservedly are ahead. 1-0. Maddison. He gave that ball away. It's a curling free kick in for Leicester, headed away by Adam Smith. Christensen plays it out towards that far side. Barnes now with a cross, diagonal ball in from the left. Header comes off Stevens, runs behind for a corner kick. Well, they introduced the happy clappers here today to try and drum up the atmosphere. They've only been beating them in frustration. There's certainly nothing to... there's no happy clappers in sight.
No, miserable clappers.
They want to take the corner quickly, right-hand side. 3 minutes to go to the break. 1-0 to Bournemouth. Christensen to take it. Distinct smell of sulphur. I can only imagine from what must have been a fire smoke bomb that had been set off by the Bournemouth support, as the cross from the corner is being cleared away with ease by Stevens inside that penalty area. Ball played out by Ricardo to Samare. Struggled to keep that ball in play. Back pass wasn't necessarily the best either. They didn't run true through to Everson, but he was ready for that one on that occasion. And Bournemouth again pick up the ball with Rothwell. All the football, all the invention is being played through this Bournemouth side at the moment, and Gary O'Neill wants them to go and get another. Tavernier in towards Billing, just too far outside his outstretched right foot.
So easy in for Bournemouth, isn't it? They get the ball, they're just strolling round, they're not under any pressure. They've got they must have went 40-50 yards there with nobody putting anybody under pressure.
At the minute, you just have to say that Leicester City are sleepwalking into the Championship.
You see, it's confidence. They must, when you're in problems and you play at home, you think it's an advantage. If you go out there with no confidence, you've got no chance.
Castagna with the throw. Vardy tries to work over the cross. It goes out of play for a goal kick. They just look devoid of ideas.
Well, unfortunately, the creativity, you're looking for Vardy to get on the end of things, obviously. But you've got Maddison's playing very high, Barnes is playing very high. It's getting the ball to them. Nobody can get the ball to them.
There's another penalty at Brentford, Katie Smith.
And it's gone to Brentford again. We've just seen the clock go up 3 added minutes, but it's Ivan Toney once again over the ball. Missed one already. 1 goal disallowed. It is Nick Pope in his way in the goal in bright orange in the sunshine in West London. Ivan Toney now starts his slow run up, and this time he scores. He goes to the right again, but Nick Pope goes down low, and Toney shoots it into the top right-hand corner. Finally, he gets his goal. It is Brentford 1, Newcastle 0. And my, we've had some action this half.
So Brentford finally take the lead against Newcastle United. It means the only goalless game in the Premier League. Hold on, Maddison turns, shoots, takes a deflection, looks behind for a corner kick. The only goalless game is at Villa Park. Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest. Brentford are ahead. Fulham 0, West Ham 1, Tottenham 1, Brighton 1. Wolves lead Chelsea by a goal to 0, and Leicester City, 1 minute of added on time, have now won themselves a corner kick on this near side the right. Christensen is going to take it, left-footed, flicked on at the near post by Barnes, cleared by that Bournemouth defence. Everybody was back. There's a break on now for Rothwell, but the referee David Coote blows his half-time whistle, and it's a half-time whistle that is greeted by boos and jeers from the home support, because they are behind yet again. And in this pivotal game down at the bottom, it's Bournemouth deservedly who lead through that Billing goal.
Listen, Bournemouth thoroughly deserve it. Could have been more than one, let's be honest. They've been wasteful in good areas, but they did eventually take lead. A mistake by Maddison. Leicester, I would say, came into that game the last 2 minutes of the half. They've got to look at changing the system, maybe look at the bench. He's got to be braver and get players forward and get the ball to Maddison and Barnes in the right areas. At the minute, you've got to say, lacking in confidence, lacking in belief, and in this game is all going to Bournemouth at the minute.
And it's Bournemouth through Billing who lead by a goal to 0. It's Leicester City 0, Bournemouth 1.
Chris, I know this is stating the obvious, but Leicester are absolutely miles off it.
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, I came the other day thinking, what an opportunity for them here to win the game, get themselves up the league. It's at home. Bournemouth's away form's terrible. I'm not saying Leicester's home form's great, but they've just basically lied down and they've said to Bournemouth, look, when you've got the ball, you can do what you want. I really thought they'd come out the blocks, really pushing in the faces, making the crowd getting behind them, asking questions, putting Bournemouth on the back foot, which they're not like to do. Bournemouth have just strolled that first half, and he's got to make changes because unfortunately, especially in the midfield area, they've been woeful, Leicester.
Chris, Ian, thank you for the time being. If Bournemouth could turn that into 3 points, they would move 3 points clear of the relegation zone. The same is true of West Ham. It's half-time at Craven Cottage. John Southall.
Fulham 0, West Ham 1, 22% possession, 1 shot on target, but importantly West Ham have the lead. The goal was made by Jared Bowen, did really well down the right-hand side, went round Tim Ream, his cross came off Harrison Reed into the bottom left corner, Reed own goal, and for all their possession, Fulham, they haven't created a great deal. Pereira had a shot deflected wide, and Robinson fished a shot over the crossbar. Unlike Wednesday night, West Ham have defended well. Just one away win this season for West Ham, but at half-time, Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
Another one of the relegation-threatened teams leading at half-time. Wolves trying to spoil Frank Lampard's big day. John Bennett.
Yes, Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. Frank Lampard's second spell in charge, off to a really tough start. Mateus Nunes with a wonder goal, Steve, for Wolves. His first goal for the club. Fell to him tight angle, right-hand edge of the box. It took a bounce, and Nunes volleyed it up and over Kepa. Stunning strike. They could have made it 2-0 not long afterwards. Kepa making a good save to deny the former Chelsea striker Diego Costa one-on-one from a tight angle. At the other end, Chelsea have had plenty of the ball, but it's the same old story. Very few chances created. Reece James had a cross deflected wide. João Felix had a shot easily saved. New manager, same old problems for Chelsea. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0.
Brentford don't have any problems creating chances. Ivan Toney could have had a first half hat-trick, Katie Smith.
Exactly. They've been by far the better side. They lead by a goal to 0 at the break over Newcastle. Thomas Frank said That's what they didn't do at Old Trafford midweek. Have a great first half. They came out firing, thought they had the lead in the 8th minute. Tony's goal, though, tap in from close range, ruled out via VAR, and then it was Pontus Jansson, the captain, who was taken off injured. So the mood sort of flattened. Then Ivan Toney missed a penalty. We've never seen that before in the Premier League, only for Brentford to be awarded a second penalty on the stroke of half-time after a VAR review. That was for a high boot from Alexander Isak. The ref sent over to the monitor. Redemption for Ivan Toney, so he finally scores. Brentford lead 1-0, and Newcastle not much to offer at all. No shots on target, Steve.
That scoreline will be of interest to both Tottenham and Brighton, still playing in the first half. Jonathan Overend.
It will, 1-1. We're in the final seconds of the first half here. Son giving Tottenham the lead on the 9th minute with a beautiful curling right foot shot cutting in from the left. Couldn't have hit it better into the top corner. But then the equaliser on 33 minutes, Lewis Dunk, direct from a Solly March corner. Dunk marking his 200th Premier League appearance with the freedom of North London to head in that equalising goal. Just waiting for the half-time whistle, 1-0.
Heung-min Son's 100th Premier League goal, the first ever Asian player to reach 100 goals in the Premier League. It is half-time, Aston Villa 0, Nottingham Forest 0. We'll tell you about that shortly. Into Scotland earlier today, Celtic beat Rangers by 3 goals to go 12 points clear at the top. It's Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0 at half-time. Motherwell lead Livingston by 3 goals to 0. St Johnstone 0, Ross County 1. It's Hearts 0, St Mirren 0. So Aberdeen going third in the table as it stands. Into the Scottish Championship, the leaders Dundee currently drawing 0-0 at Arbroath. It's Ayr 0, Morton 0, Hamilton 0, Cove Rangers 0 and Inverness 2, Wraith 0. Scottish League 1, top 2 play each other this afternoon. It's Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 2. If it stays like that, Dunfermline will stay 11 points clear at the top of the table. Other scores: Airdrieonians 0, Montrose 0, Alloa 0, Queen of the South 2, Kelty Hearts 0, Clyde 0 and Peterhead 1, Edinburgh 0. In Scottish League 2, Stirling at top of the league, leading East Fife by 2 goals to 1, 11 points clear as it stands. It's Stranraer 0, Forfar 0, Stenhousemuir 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Annan 3, Dumbarton 0 and Albion Rovers 0, Elgin City 0. Let's get that half-time now at Villa Park. Pat Murphy.
It's 0-0. It's soporific in the sunshine. Villa playing the patient game, hoping for the openings to come, but they're not. Forest playing with spirit. Gibbs White should have done better, missing his kick from 15 yards out. Traore on his sub over the bar for Villa after great work by Mourinho. Villa 0, Forest 0.
Whistle at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Jonathan Overend.
Yep, 1-0, Son and Dunk. And the one thing I haven't mentioned is that after that Brighton equaliser, there was a confrontation between the two coaching staff. We know all about Roberto De Zerbi. He doesn't leave any emotions back in the locker room, and he was certainly celebrating wildly. Didn't see exactly what happened, but they did need to be kept apart, the Brighton and Tottenham coaches. It's been an entertaining half. Plenty of chances. Tottenham 1, Brighton 1.
Let's find out how entertaining it's been at Tynecastle. Connie McLaughlin.
Well, the scoreline probably tells you, Steve. Hearts 0, St Mirren 0. Although, to be fair, Hearts have definitely looked better than they have in a while. Lawrence Shankland sent a ball just deflected wide, and then Andy Halliday just a couple of minutes ago hit the woodwork. That's probably been about it so far from a home side perspective. They're playing a 4-2-3-1, and Stephen Kingsley getting forward more from left back, and definitely the introduction of Cammy Devlin to midfield has also helped their cause. From a Saints perspective, Alex Gogish came closest for them, a header that just went over the bar for Saints, but that has been about it. I am going to head for a cup of tea, and I'll do a little prayer just to make sure that there's better to tell you about at full time. It's Hearts 0, St Mirren 0.
Got everything crossed for you, Connie. Thank you very much. Half-time in the European Champions Cup, Toulouse 14, Sharks 10. These are quarter-finals. Exeter Chiefs play Stormers at 5:30. The winners of that in the semi-final will play either La Rochelle or Saracens. Their quarter-final is tomorrow afternoon. Let's check back in on Super League. Lee Salford, Dave Woods.
20 minutes left to play. Lee 10, Salford 22. Ryan Brierley sin-bin for Salford, and while he was off, Tom Briscoe managed to get a try back for Lee, but since then Tyler Dupree, a barnstorming finish from close range a moment ago. Salford are back to 13 again, and it's Lee 10, Salford 22.
Thank you very much, Dave. Much more to come. We'll be back for second half commentary live from the King Power Stadium. Don't forget, we've got Southampton, Manchester City at 5:30, and we will keep you up to date with all of the latest from Augusta. Let's get the news now on 5 Live with Richard Foster.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Hospital managers say next week's planned 4-day strike by junior doctors in England is likely to have more of an impact on patients than previous walkouts. The NHS Confederation estimates that up to 250,000 appointments and operations could be postponed. That walkout's due to start on Tuesday. A 12-year-old boy accused of murdering a 60-year-old woman in Sheffield has been remanded into secure accommodation. He appeared at the city's youth court after Marcia Grad was hit by a car on Wednesday. The case will be heard at Crown Court on Tuesday. Ukraine says it's ready to start exporting electricity again, despite Russia launching more than 1,200 missiles and drones against its energy infrastructure. The attacks started back in October and led to widespread power cuts over the winter. And police are investigating reports of a 2.5-metre fiberglass gorilla being towed across motorways in England. It matches the description of Gary the gorilla, who was stolen from a Lanarkshire garden centre last month.
Why is it called a smart speaker? Because it's smart. You ask it to do something and it'll be done. Just say, smart speaker, ask BBC Sounds to play your favourite music mix. Oh, that's nice. Or you can say, ask BBC Sounds to play that brand new podcast. Ooh. And you can even ask BBC Sounds to pause, rewind and restart live radio on your smart speaker. If only everything in life is that simple. For music, radio and podcasts, on most smart speakers, just say, smart speaker, ask BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
A very up and down day for Tiger Woods at Augusta. How's it finished, Ian Carter?
Yeah, the second round is complete. We thought when Woods suffered bogeys on his last 2 holes, that would be that, and he would miss the cut for the first time as a professional. But his great friend Justin Thomas bogeyed each of the last 2 holes, and that just opened the door, and the cut has come at 3 over par. Thomas was disconsolate at the end because he finished at 4 over. He's among an illustrious list not to make the cut, but Tiger Woods has made the cut, and he was round in 73 to finish at 3 over par. At the other end of the leaderboard, Jon Rahm's 69 leaves him at 10 under par, 2 shots behind Brooks Koepka, so they'll be going out together a little later on at the start of the third round. But as I say, Woods makes the cut. 12 of the 18 live players who were in the field are going to be here for the final 2 rounds, but those missing out, I've told you about Thomas, Rory McIlroy obviously after yesterday's disappointment, Bryson DeChambeau, Danny Willett and Sergio Garcia among those whose Masters are over for now.
Ian, thank you very much. So Newcastle behind in 4th place in the Premier League. Spurs and Brighton 5th and 6th, both drawing. It's looking, so far, like a good day for Manchester United. Up to 3rd after beating Everton 2-0 at Old Trafford. Here's Erik ten Hag.
First, I'm happy with the win. But we always want to play entertaining football. And I think today, this afternoon was quite entertaining. We have seen a great game, 2 good teams. And I was very happy with the performance, of course, from my team.
21 shots in the first half, the most by any side in the Premier League this season. Was that a conscious effort to come out quickly, bearing in mind how many games you have to play?
Exactly. Particularly when you have so many games to play and you can deliver this, it shows the character and the mentality of this team. So, yeah, big credit to the team.
Any frustration that there weren't more goals scored, that you didn't score earlier, or do you credit your team with sticking at the task and finally getting one?
Yeah, but I emphasize the mentality, and you have to keep going. So the resilience to finishing the chances. But first you have to outplay the chances, and that is what we are doing all the time. We are looking for that. I think it was a high tempo, but of course we have to be more clinical. And yeah, sometimes it's a disappointment, but you have to keep going.
A negative for you is that Marcus Rashford hobbled away with an injury. How serious is it? How quickly do you think he might be able to return?
That is, I don't know, but that is the risk when you have to play so many games in a short notice, and especially when the schedule is this tight, the players can't recover. So you run the risk that players getting injured, and also we all have to be aware of that.
Have you had a chance to speak to him to get an indication of how serious it is?
You can't say, even when you speak with him. We have to wait tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and then we will see what's the diagnosis.
Erik ten Hag on a big worry for Manchester United fans back into Scotland. Celtic beating Rangers 3-2 in our commentary at 12:30. Here's Celtic boss Ange Postecoglou.
It was a derby game, had a bit of everything. It was very, very competitive at times. You can't understand the significance of the game, not just in terms of the derby, but for the season, and it's only natural players are going to be on edge a little bit, and I think that showed in our game. But we still controlled aspects of it. You know, we kind of were always a threat. They were a threat from set pieces and caused us some problems there. But overall, you just walk away, and like I said, I'm as much a sort of onlooker as anyone else on game day, and I just can't help but admire the character this group of players shows to find a way every time to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a game that did have everything, as you say, and part of the game is being able to cope with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this group of players has come together and formed a really strong unity and bond and an unshakable belief in each other and what we're trying to do. And, as I said, as a manager, you obviously analyse the performance and you want to help the team, but that quality they bring to it is just outstanding.
Celtic boss Ange Postecoglou. We've had a try in Super League. Lee Salford, Dave Woods.
Lee 14, Salford 22. Josh Charnley's second of the game. Incredibly tight decision with a dive to the corner. He just got his hand on it first, the video referee decided. Lee 14, Salford 22.
Thank you, Dave. So we just heard from Ange Postecoglou. Every time a job comes up in the Premier League, his name is mentioned. He seems very content. But just in the last hour, a lot of the papers saying that talks between Leicester and Jesse Marsch are now at a very advanced stage. So with that, we'll hand you back to the King Power with Chris Waddle and Ian Dennis.
Well, he was linked with Southampton. He wanted, I was told, a longer deal than he was offered at Southampton. So I can only imagine that he's been given some sort of assurances by the Leicester hierarchy, if that is the case for Jesse Marsch. Whatever, though, they certainly need something at half-time, because Leicester City, Chris Waddle, can surely not be as bad in the second half as they were in that first 45 minutes.
Well, we're going to find out, but I've got to say I've watched Leicester over the years, and that is the worst I've seen them play that first half.
Well, neither side has made a change. So Leicester City trailing by 1-0 line up with Iversen in goal, Castagna, Fas, Amati and Christensen, Ndidi and Samare, with Ricardo, Maddison and Barnes behind Jamie Vardy. 4-2-3-1. Bournemouth in their red and black striped shirts and black shorts, playing in the second half from left to right, have Neto in goal, Smith, Mepham, Stevens and Kelly, Rothwell and Lerma, with Christie, Billing, Marcus Tavernier coming in to replace Ouattara and Solanke. And already Bournemouth have been awarded a free kick in the opening 30 seconds of the Leicester half, 10 yards in from the right touchline that Billing and Rothwell stand over. The goal came 6 minutes before half-time, a mistake from Maddison, seized upon by Billing, tucking the ball past the onrushing keeper. Bournemouth deservedly ahead. Rothwell with the free kick, curls that inviting ball in, claimed in the air by Iversen. I mean, wherever you turn at the King Power at half-time, you were just met with grumbling Leicester City supporters.
Well, they were booed off as well, weren't they, which is not going to help the confidence, but hey, it's a man's game. You've got to stick you've got to give everything you've got. You've got to show commitment, desire. If you show that, the fans will put up with it, but they're not up for anybody hiding.
Well, there certainly was no fight whatsoever in that first half. It was it felt at times that there was an air of resignation around the King Power. There's a mistake there. Billing comes forward once again. He lays it off towards Solanke. Solanke got the shot away, and it was a save by Iversen. Good footwork by Solanke. He was running at full flight into the penalty area, 8 yards out. Left-footed shot saved by Iversen. But another chance for Bournemouth.
Yeah, Billing again causing problems, and he pulls it back. A lovely ball weighted into Solanke. He does everything right. First touch is excellent. Goes past the defender, unfortunately the finish. But we've said this about Bournemouth before. They will create a lot of chances, but they don't take enough.
Well, they should have at least a cushion, shouldn't they, with the chances they created here today?
Yes, definitely.
Neto then clears in goal for Bournemouth. BBC Radio 5 Live. Just a reminder of what else is happening in the Premier League. The result earlier today, Manchester United 2, Everton 0. The latest scores: Villa 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford lead Newcastle United by a goal to 0, Fulham 0, West Ham United 1, Leicester 0, Bournemouth 1 here, Tottenham 1, Brighton 1, and Wolves still lead Chelsea by a goal to 0. We've got commentary to come at St Mary's at 5:30 after Sports Report, and then we've got the US Masters tonight from 9 o'clock with Mark Chapman and the team, where Brooks Koepka has a 2-shot advantage at the halfway stage, 12 under after John Rahm finished 10 under after his second round. Billing on the left-hand side, tied it up by Ndidi, out it goes to Ricardo, he's closed down by Kelly, breaks forward towards Billing to Tavernier, looking towards Solanke. Everything's coming down that left-hand side.
Yeah, we saw that first half, everything happened down that side, and they've not learnt, Leicester. I don't know who's doing the report and sitting in the stand, but they've given them false information, obviously. But I mean, Billing, for me, he should pull the trigger more as well. He gets in great positions. He's got a good left foot. He should shoot. He's always looking to roll it off to somebody else that's happening in the net. Sometimes, just pull the trigger.
By the way, if it is right about Jesse Marsh, if that corner is rolled short and then it's played back and it goes towards the left-hand side, queuing up, catch out by Everson, headed back in and then claimed by Everson. I think it was Stevens at the far post who had a little swing. Leicester City extremely fortunate that they haven't fallen further behind there. There were a couple of efforts at that, up towards Vardy and behind by Jamie Vardy once again from Barnes. There is hardly any threat whatsoever from Leicester City.
They were queuing up there in the far post.
Queuing
Stevens should score, to be perfectly honest. Then there was a bit of a scramble. He should have scored that as well.
Leicester come forward now with Maddison. They need some magic from Maddison to Vardy. Vardy towards Barnes, and across the face of goal it goes. Best chance by Leicester by far, and Barnes couldn't apply the finishing touch at the far post. Out for a goal kick. Bournemouth still lead 1-0.
Well, this is where Maddison picks the ball up, doesn't he? 50 yards up, 40 yards out, and he just drives at the back four. Lovely ball. Vardy just puts it. It's just too far ahead of Harvey Barnes at the far post. He's not going to get at the end of that. But it's the first we saw of Leicester.
Interesting. I was just going to say, though, if it is true about Jesse Marsh, he's got a return to Leeds United coming up very, very soon. Manchester City away, then Wolves at home, followed by a trip to Leeds United. That'll be a tasty reception for him, I'm sure, at Ellen Road. As Leicester City, he's going to inherit a Leicester City side that looks bereft of confidence and devoid of ideas, and a real fight to stay in the Premier League. Here is Rothwell charging forward for Bournemouth, edge of the area, drifts out towards the left. Tavernier strokes it back. Kelly's ball flat, headed out by Amate, collected by Lerma. Bournemouth are dictating this game so much. Gary O'Neill will be livid if they don't collect the 3 points the way that they've dominated this so far. 50 minutes in and they're 1-0 up, and it could have been 2 or at least 3. What about at Molineux? John Bennett.
Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. Fiery start to this second half. Cucurella with a two-footed studs up challenge on Nunes, the goal scorer, just a yellow card. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0.
Thank you, John. Sports Report with the results and the reaction before our next commentary at St Mary's. But here in the sunshine, Maddison drifting in field, but his ball doesn't have the power to reach Barnes, and it's easily intercepted by Smith.
It's not just that, Ian. It's when they do get possession, Leicester. Obviously, there's not a lot of movement, there's not a lot of options, but they don't press enough to get it back. They don't, when they lose it, they don't think, right, let's get the ball back, let's go and chase. They just let Bournemouth do what they want.
Well, they've got real problems on the evidence of what we've seen so far. David Coote, the referee, has given a free kick to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, however, have got to see it out. They've got to try and maintain this lead. If they're unable to add to it, the 3 points would be absolutely huge, given their woeful away record. Nottingham Forest have got a woeful away record, but there's been a goal at Villa Park. Pat Murphy.
To Nottingham Forest, Bertrand Traore for the second time in just a few days. This at the second attempt. Bad mistake by Navas, the keeper. Left foot poke shot down the right, palmed away by Navas, but not far enough and he followed on quicker than anybody, Traore, and he got that one in with his left foot. Bad goal to concede at the start of the second half, Ian. Villa 1, Forest 0.
So Villa lead Nottingham Forest by 1-0. Brentford lead Newcastle 1-0. Fulham 0, West Ham 1, Tottenham 1, Brighton 1, Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. Ross County just got a second goal at McDermott Park. St Johnstone 0, Ross County 2 in the Scottish Premiership, and you're up to date. Certainly the one he scored last week off the bench was a cracker, wasn't it, Traore?
Yeah.
Added to that today. And Forest, well, we knew what the owner's statement, he wanted an improvement, an immediate improvement. 1 win in 12 in all competitions, 8 in the Premier League without a win, 3 points out of a possible 24 for Steve Cooper's side. That cranks up the pressure on Forest, who actually now drop into the relegation zone. So Everton, who lost earlier 2-0 at Manchester United, are out of the relegation zone on goal difference, with Forest behind there at Villa Park. Southampton 23, Leicester 25, Forest 27, Everton 27, Leeds 29. Those bottom 5 clubs. Bournemouth then on 30, Palace 30, West Ham 30 and Wolves 31. Significant changes at the bottom of the table on this crucial afternoon of football this Easter weekend. BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, and we're also live through the BBC Sounds app. Bournemouth play a ball forward towards Solanke, manages to nudge Amati out of the way with his strength, down towards the byline, tries to squeeze it in from a tight angle, comes back to Tavernier, his shot was blocked, picked up by Solanke, and then it's scooped behind for a corner kick. Leicester once again, they are hanging on. They're hanging on to a 1-0 deficit.
Well, Amati there gets muscled out the way, doesn't he, by Solanke. Too easy, it's so easy. And then he allowed him to run along the lane. He's got nothing really options, so he dives to the shot at the near post. Tavernier just slips as he follows up with a rebound. But I mean, Bournemouth need to get a second goal and kill this game off.
They certainly do. 10 minutes into the second half. Mind you, given what happened at Arsenal, mind you, on the evidence of today, there's no chance of Leicester scoring 3, let alone 1, what we've seen so far. In comes the corner, fisted out by Everson. Tavernier plays it square. Billing waits for it to settle, clips the ball back in. Tavernier then out towards Lerma. That was a nice touch to bring it under control, right hand side. Back with Billing once again. He swings over the cross, goes out towards that far side. Ball is played infield, there's a little touch there, the shot and turn by Kelly, that was blocked, comes to Solanke, and Christensen digs it out inside the 6-yard area.
How easy is it? I mean, Bournemouth will not find an easier game. Never, if it's a matter of home or away, they'll not get an easier game in this over the season in the Premier League. And he's had 3 subs warming up, Leicester. Now they're starting to get stripped, rightly so. Absolutely been terrible today, Leicester.
They were on such a go slow there inside that penalty area that even had an alarm sounded or a siren, they wouldn't have reacted. They have just been, I'm surprised at how bad they've been.
Obviously we don't see them week in, week out, Ian, but this has got to be one of the worst performances of the season, even since they've been in the Premier League, I would think.
Let's go to Brentford, Katie Smith.
And we've got an equaliser for Newcastle. It had been coming. They have been playing so much better in this opening 8 minutes. Brentford 1, Newcastle 1. Joe Linton on the right-hand side gets past Ben Mee, beats the defender, and then under Raya and scoops it into the goal. 1-1.
Hearts 0, St Mirren 1. We'll get news of that goal from Conor McLaughlin. And in fact, Connor's there now at Tynecastle.
I am totally against the run of play. Curtis Main getting the better of Ross Stewart, the third choice goalkeeper for Hearts in goal today because of injury to Craig Gordon and Xander Clark. Edge of the box, right footed shot into the back of the net. It's Hearts 0, St Mirren 1.
So you're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live. We're 12 minutes into the second half here in the sunshine at the King Power, and still you're thinking, when's the reaction going to come for Leicester City? The crowd once again are just starting to get a little bit restless here as the ball goes out towards that far side, and then it's played back. Castagna to Ricardo, plays it forward up towards Vardy. Vardy drops back onto his knees, coming back from an offside position. That will be a free kick to Bournemouth, who still lead 1-0. We'll go to Fulham now. John Southall.
It's Fulham 0, West Ham 1. It is all Fulham, but West Ham have just had the best chance. Bone on the right hand side to Danny Ings, just tried to dink it over the keeper Leno, who did well to block it. Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
Well, this tells you everything. The loudest cheer of the day here for Leicester City is because of a double substitution with Kelechi Iheanacho and Daka coming off. Jamie Vardy is the player coming off. 1 goal in 29 Premier League games now for Jamie Vardy. And admittedly, he's had very little service from a toothless Leicester City side so far. And Ricardo goes off as well. So it's Ricardo and Vardy who are off, and Iheanacho and Daka who are on. We'll go to Molineux, John Bennett.
Chelsea piling on the pressure. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. They had a penalty appeal turned down. Felix's shot deflected off the arm of Gomez. No penalty, said the referee. Pulisic is about to come on. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0.
Chelsea, of course, are in Champions League action. Quarter-finals on Wednesday night. Live commentary from the Bernabeu. Real Madrid against Chelsea after we brought you Manchester City Bayern on the Tuesday. Thursday, Manchester United Sevilla live on BBC Radio 5 Live. But straight away, Iheanacho is involved, running forward, looking towards Barnes. Cut out though by Stevens, only as far as Soumare to Maddison. Maddison now, he was looking towards Daka, cleared away. The crowd have at least got something to get excited about. Christensen hits the ball early and forward from midway through the Bournemouth half, cleared away. 1-0 Bournemouth lead. Bournemouth will get a free kick. Let's get an update from Tottenham. Jonathan O'Brien.
Still 1-1 with Brighton, but Kane starting to try to make things happen in the second half for the home side. Couple of lovely balls over the top. One to Perisic a moment ago that forced a really brilliant diving save by Jason Steele. Tottenham 1, Brighton 1.
We've been playing for nearly an hour. BBC Radio 5 Live. Lewis Cook is going to be coming on. Lewis Cook, the midfielder, is going to be replacing Rothwell. So just sit there in the midfield, I'd have thought, Chris.
Yeah, and you've got to think Rothwell will not be happy. He's had a good game, to be fair, Gerald, but he's on a yellow card, and obviously he likes to put his foot in, so I can see the sense in that.
So Lewis Cook coming on, the former Leeds United midfielder, replacing Rothwell, who has done ever so well. Gets a pat on the back for his efforts as well from Gary O'Neill. And Bournemouth still protecting this slender advantage with half an hour to go. To Solanke. Can't get away from Fass. Dropped to one knee but wins the challenge and brings it away. Fass over the halfway line. Barnes on this near side the left. Leicester in all royal blue, playing from right to left as we look. Then he passes the ball back. You can hear the groans from the Leicester support. And Didi now to Amate. Soumare helps it out towards that right-hand side. He goes infield towards Maddison. Maddison gets the shot away. Got a hand to that, did Neto. First shot on target, I think, that from Leicester. Corner kick.
They make 2 changes, and look at the reaction to the team. Better shape, 2 up front. Maddison to that right-hand side. Barnes on the left. Better balance now, and they're higher up the field. They're putting pressure on Bournemouth in the last third.
St Mirren have got a second goal at Hearts. Hearts 0, St Mirren 2. Corner kick to Leicester City, looking for an equaliser. Just waiting is Christensen on that far side in front of the Bournemouth travelling support that packed out that quadrant. They then take the corner short. Christensen lifts it in. It's a high one. It's very, very deep. It's headed back by Castagna. Fast gets his hand on that, and it's picked up by Neto. A goal at Tottenham. Jonathan Overend.
Brighton come from behind and take the lead, and it's another really poor goal for Tottenham to concede. They afforded Danny Welbeck too much space. He moved it onto his left foot inside the box, and he shot straight through Lloris, who once again will be disappointed. Tottenham 1, Brighton 2.
So Tottenham with a dropping and missing and maybe an opportunity with Newcastle at the minute being held at Brentford. But of course Manchester United beating Everton earlier by 2-0. So Tottenham are going to be 4 points off Newcastle, and Newcastle still have a game in hand. They'll be 6 behind Manchester United, and they too have a game in hand over Tottenham Hotspur. Leicester City already have been much improved since that double change. Mind you, it wasn't hard, they've been that poor. Here was Barnes on this near side the left. Barnes running at pace, infield, getting the return ball back. Barnes now has a chance, good save by Neto. The referee had blown his whistle, the flag had stayed down, but Neto wasn't to know that. It was a very strong left arm by Neto. It'll be a free kick to Bournemouth.
Well, it's like a new team here, Leicester. Energy levels, tempo they're playing at. And we've got to say, I know Ian, I know it's been a foul, but what a great save that was, by the way. Barnes, a lovely one too, and what a save with his left hand, absolutely brilliant. And I think it's hurt his left hand actually.
Yeah, I think it has. Meanwhile, that goal doesn't stand, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's been chalked off, which has taken everybody by surprise. Tottenham had the ball on the centre spot ready to kick off, but handball in the build-up, and it's been chalked off. Tottenham 1, Brighton 1.
Looks like it's his left elbow. I'm not surprised. I mean, as you say, it was a terrific save.
Unbelievable save.
From Neto. So there's a stoppage in play. He's getting treatment away towards our left in the technical area. That goal then disallowed. It remains Tottenham 1, Brighton 1. And news of that second St Mirren goal. Connie?
Yeah, Mark O'Hara, it was 10 yards out. Awkward contact with the ball, but he managed to bundle it across the line past Ross Stewart. That's all he'll care about. His 10th goal of the season. And remember, if they manage to win this one and it stays this way, they will come just a point behind Hearts in third. Boos, by the way, still ringing around Gorgie. The Hearts fans not too happy. Hearts 0, St Mirren 2.
Aberdeen still lead Kilmarnock by a goal to 0. Motherwell 3, Livingston 0. All goals at Fir Park coming in the first half. And Ross County are going to be moving 5 points away from bottom of the table Dundee United as they lead at McDermott Park by 2 goals to 0. St Johnstone 0, Ross County 2. And in fact, Aberdeen have just got a second at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 2, Kilmarnock 0. Neto's back on his feet. Play is about to resume, but we'll go to Brentford. Katie Smith.
Brentford 1, Newcastle 2. They have turned it around. Alexander Isak played it square from Callum Wilson on the edge of the area. Postcard perfection, right top hand corner, and there is bedlam in the away area right now. It's Brentford 1, Newcastle 2.
Newcastle United are flying. We're going to go back to Tottenham. Jonathan Overend.
Oh, embarrassing scenes down here on the touchline as both sets of coaching staff get involved in an altercation. It's absolutely ridiculous. They should be ashamed of themselves, so much so that the players have stopped the match. The players have come over to the touchline to stop this melee. Ridiculous. 1-1.
Well, you might be able to see that for yourself on Match of the Day tonight at 10:30. I'm sure that that won't be the last we've heard of that. Full time in the Super League, Lee Salford, Dave Woods.
Lee 20, Salford 22. It was more comfortable for Salford than that sounds. Ben Reynolds with a try in the very last seconds, tightening the gap, but a good win for Salford. They're up into the top 6. Lee 20, Salford 22.
Thanks, Dave. Bournemouth still lead here by a goal to 0. 65 minutes played. Leicester City, who 1 point out of 7 in the Premier League. That was that draw actually against Brentford. They've lost their last 4 at home in all competitions, and they're behind yet again here. Certainly hasn't been many home comforts for them. Robert Snodgrass has been sent off now at Tynecastle. And there's also been a sending off at Tottenham, Jonathan.
Well, I'm not sure how many of these fools down there in the technical areas have been sent off, but Roberto De Zerbi is definitely one of them, and I think Christian Stellini is another. I think both managers have received the red card, and they are both walking down the tunnel at the moment, and frankly, if they were responsible for that melee, it's the least they deserve. Well done, referee Stuart Atwell. Both managers sent off, 1-1.
He was actually banned from the touchline for Brighton's win against West Ham as well, wasn't he, De Zerbi? So it's not the first time that he's been involved in a little bit of that. So De Zerbi and Stellini both sent off in a sounds like a tempestuous affair at Tottenham. 1-0 to Bournemouth. Now it's Leicester City coming forward. Lerma gives away a free kick, and it'll be midway through the Leicester half. But Bournemouth should be out of sight by now, shouldn't they, really, in this game? Bournemouth should be out of sight.
Definitely. I mean, Leicester's, I've got to say, they've upped the tempo a little bit with the introduction of the 2 substitutes up front, but they've not really caused any problems to Bournemouth.
There's a free kick to Leicester. Maddison's going to take it 10 yards forward of the centre circle in the Bournemouth half. Right footed, drops in the penalty area, headed out by Mepham, headed up in the air by Farce, and then the ball is played by Ndidi. Christensen wants it on this near side. The blonde-haired Dane plays it to the feet of Barnes. Then it'll flick towards Christensen, and Billing running back. Billing's done an excellent job today for Bournemouth.
Pass as well.
We'll go to Molineux. John Bennett.
Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. Triple change for Chelsea. Mudryk, Chilwell and Aubameyang coming on. He hasn't played since the 26th of February. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0.
It'll be a much needed boost potentially for Wolves if they can hang on to that in their fight down at the bottom. Bournemouth are looking to try and protect their own 3 points here, but Billing has actually lost it to Samare, who charges forward on the edge of the area, releases the ball out towards the far side, but the cross is a very, very deep one, and it drifts all the way out of play. And Iheanacho, I think, was actually saying that make sure that they pen Bournemouth back in, but
they've looked better, Ian, with two lads up front, a bit more energy, and Vardy was isolated, let's be honest. Now they're playing two up front with Maddison coming in from that right hand side, Barnes on the left. They are playing a lot higher up the field, asking a few more questions, but in the final third, nothing.
Well, the only crumb of comfort I can actually say to a Leicester fan listening to 5 Live at the moment is that in none of the 11 Premier League meetings between these two has there ever been an away win. You've had 6 home wins and 5 draws. There's been another goal. It's at Brentford. Katie Smith.
Yeah, it's Brentford 1, Newcastle 3, but we are in our third VAR check of the match. A possible handball. It was a corner, right-hand side, whipped out to the far post. Callum Wilson spinning, turning, tucking it under Raya in the goal, but it's whether it hit his hand. The Brentford players aren't happy, so we await this one. Currently Brentford 1, Newcastle 3. We'll see if it stands.
Thanks, Casey. That would be a fine week for Newcastle United, wouldn't it? The victory against
brilliant. They're playing so well at the minute, Newcastle.
And then 8 goals, if that stands, from 2 trips to London. News of that sending off. Conor McLaughlin at Tynecastle.
Yeah, it's just gone from bad to worse for Hearts here at Tynecastle. A second yellow card for Robert Snodgrass meant an early bath for him. It was the first one, the yellow card that was a lunge at Mark O'Hara, and then the second one just a couple of minutes ago was over at Curtis May. Now, it was down to the sort of left-hand side of where I'm sitting. I've not got a replay, so I can't tell you if it was as bad as a lot of people are saying it was, but it doesn't really matter from a Hearts perspective because he is off and they're down to 10 men. 66 minutes on the clock. Hearts 0, St Mirren 2.
So St Mirren 2-0 up there. Leicester City are attacking. Samari, man over in Barnes. It might still fall towards Barnes. Barnes with a cutback. Leicester still threatening, and the effort from Iheanacho, scooped forward off his left foot and saved by Neto. And I'm hearing, Katie, that it's another goal ruled out for you.
It is indeed. So it's now Brentford 1, Newcastle 2, a slight reprieve for the home side. So Callum Wilson brought on at half-time, deemed to have handballed as he shot that one into the goal. So it is Brentford 1, Newcastle 2.
So let's just give you a rundown of the scores in the Premier League. Aston Villa lead Nottingham Forest by 1-0. Forest are dropping into the relegation zone as it stands. Brentford 1, Newcastle 2. Fulham 0, West Ham United 1. Leicester 0, Bournemouth 1 here. Tottenham 1, Brighton 1. Both managers have been sent off, and Wolves still lead Chelsea by 1-0. Southampton, Manchester City. Commentary to come at 5:30 after the results and reaction and all the interviews, as many as we can cram in there, with Steve Crossman from 5. Then our next commentary at St Mary's. Then we've got the US Masters at 9. Tomorrow we've got Leeds Crystal Palace at 2. Liverpool Arsenal commentary at 4:30. We're going to go back to Fulham West Ham now with an update from John Southall.
Fulham 0, West Ham 1. West Ham just have a corner here on the left hand side, cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box. They've made a substitution. David Moyes took off Danny Ings and brought on side Ben Rama to challenge from the away fans. You don't know what you're doing. Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
So West Ham United looking to bounce back after that heavy home defeat against Newcastle. There's a stoppage in play. Barnes is just getting some treatment. There have been flashes from Leicester City since the introduction of Daka and Iheanacho.
Yeah, and unfortunately it's got Maddison and Barnes here more involved, but Barnes off that last attack there's obviously tweaked some tape with, I think he was holding his knee, so maybe he's done a medial ligament or something, but he's going to come off.
So Barnes is being led to the side of the pitch, and Leicester City are going to be forced into a change, and it will be Tete who will replace him. He's on loan from Shakhtar Donetsk. We're going to go to Villa Park now. Pat Murphy.
It's still 1-0 to Villa, should be 2-0 because Mourinho, great work down the left for Villa, pulled it back. Buendia just wide of the right post. Couple of substitutions for Forest, but they're not making much of an impression. Villa 1, Forest 0.
Thanks, Pat. We've got 18 minutes remaining here at the King Power, and Harvey Barnes is off. We'll hope that that's not a serious injury for Harvey Barnes, and Tete replaces him. And so Maddison now will switch to the left, and Tete goes to the right.
Barnes straight down the tunnel. Maddison will play this left-hand side, and Tete on the right. 2 up front, so they are asking questions, which have not done all match really.
No, they certainly not, and their home form Their struggles are going to continue, it would seem. Neto clears long downfield, ball headed away then by Amati at the heart of that Leicester City defence. Iheanacho plays it forward. Tete gets a chance to open his legs and to run forward, but they've doubled up on him. Kelly and Tavernier. Tete tries to win it back, but Lerma is there to help out. Forward ball towards Billing. Castagna tries to get it back for Leicester City, and they do win it back, and now it's with Maddison. Maddison's shot was always on the rise. 25 yards out, right-footed, always on the rise. Goal kick, Bournemouth still lead.
Well, you'd fancy him there, wouldn't you? He's picked the ball up on half turn, starts running directly to the D. Well, he's never had control over the shot, has he? Crowd gets up and roars, and lying back as he hits it, and away it goes.
When Bournemouth won at the 1-0 win in February at Wolves, it was their only clean sheet in the last 24 on the road in the Premier League. During that time, they've conceded 61 goals, they've won 3, drawn 2 and lost 19. That gives you an indication as to how precious these 3 points could be for Bournemouth. Away from home in their fight to stay in the Premier League.
I think if you look at them now, Leicester's obviously changed it. They've got to chase the game. And I think it's there for Bournemouth if they're a bit braver on the ball. They're giving the ball away to Leicester quite cheaply. They look as if they're happy to sit back and defend this 1-0. They should be going for the second.
That's Chris Waddle, who's with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Christensen forward on this near side, the left, back towards Samari. Plays a forward ball. Maddison makes the run in behind. Maddison with a cut back. Force Stevens to stretch his right leg and turn and cut it behind. They very rarely did that at all in the previous, 60-odd minutes, but they got in behind Bournemouth there and started to ask questions of the Bournemouth defence. Maddison to take the corner kick. Right-footed, curling in now. Headed out well by Mepham. Drops to Tete, hits it left-footed, drags it wide.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one. It's bouncing, it's on the edge of the box, right-hand side. He's tried to obviously put his laces to it. It's actually caught it wrong. It's bobbled a few more before it went out for a goal kick. But Bournemouth are asking for problems. They're letting Leicester come onto them, and Leicester are starting to get higher up the field, and they are creating chances.
Massive 15 minutes remain for Leicester City to get something out of this game, bearing in mind they started it in the relegation zone, 2 points behind Bournemouth. Forest now of the ones who have dropped into that bottom 3 as it stands, as they trail at Aston Villa by a 1-0. Newcastle United leading 2-1 at Brentford. Fulham 0, West Ham 1, Spurs 1, Brighton 1, Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. They're the latest scores in the top flight. Commentary to come from St Mary's at 5:30. We'll bring you the team news when we can, and in fact, as promised, Chris Wise.
Erling Haaland plays for Manchester City. That's the one change from the win over Liverpool. Alvarez drops out for Southampton. 4 changes from that defeat to West Ham. In come Maitland-Niles, Bella Kotchup, Alcaraz and Sulemana.
Thank you, Chris. Chris joined by Danny Gabardon. Commentary to come from 5:30. Ball is forward for Leicester City. Stopped, and Tavernier turns and clears for Bournemouth. Solanke will give chase. There was Amati. His ball picks up now Tete, and out it goes to that far side, the right, for Castagna. Tete gets it back. The Brazilian shrugs off the challenge of Billing, and then goes to ground. There was a foul in there from Tavernier. And that'll be a free kick to Leicester City, just in from the right touchline.
Well, he's shown a lot of life in since he's come on, Tete, hasn't he? Down that right hand side. Got a nice couple of tricks there, a little step over, gets a free kick. As Maddison will take 5 yards outside the corner of the 18-yard box on that right hand side. Great angle to put a ball in.
14 minutes of normal time remain. Leicester City behind. Maddison waits to take it, just adjusts the ball. They've only got one actually as a solitary wall there. That's Tavernier. Every other player in the red and black striped shirts in the penalty area. Maddison goes towards the far post. Iheanacho was there, headed out by the Bournemouth defence. Christensen hits it left-footed first time, off target. It was a wayward finish, goal kick.
I never fancied him on it. He's not had the best of games, Christensen, at left back, has he? And coming onto that, he didn't look the most confident, and it's gone high and wide into the crowd, but maybe just put it back in. It's a good ball in by Maddison. Nobody can get the second ball.
Haven't done enough though, have they, over the course of the game, Leicester?
I would say the last 15 minutes they've come into the game. They've pushed Bournemouth back. They've got a lot more of the ball now, Leicester, but not creating anything.
Well, for Bournemouth, it's win 1, lose 1. That's been the pattern over the last 4 fixtures. That pattern might well be extended here as it currently stands, still having a slender lead through Billing's goal 6 minutes before half-time. Leicester City will, of course, look to try and change that. Soumaré just too far ahead of Maddison. Lerma wins the ball with Ndidi in the midfield. Up it goes to Billing, out to Tavernier, far side the left, playing from left to right. Tavernier now and Billing run into each other, and Ndidi turns and passes the ball towards Tete, but he's held up by Kelly. High up the pitch, the left back for Bournemouth over on that far side. And Leicester City are forced to go back. Billing might have picked up a knock. He's still only now getting to his feet, but hobbling quite badly as the ball goes in field for Leicester. And Fast over the halfway line gives it away, and maybe Smith now, who wins that ball stepping out of defence. Could have taken advantage, and then he's passed it to an imaginary player, and it goes out of play for a throw. We'll go back to Fulham. John Southall.
Fulham 0, West Ham 1. Side Ben Rama ran 20 yards to the edge of the D and curled the shot just wide of the right hand post. As a header from Tom Kearney goes over the bar from Fulham. They've got 13 minutes here, West Ham, to hold out for a really important win. Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
It would be a huge win for them, especially as they bounce back from that heavy home defeat against Newcastle United in midweek. Leicester City are going to be making another change. Dennis Praet is going to be coming on as Christensen sends over a teasing ball. It was Daka who was making the run in behind, swept away, hooked to safety for Bournemouth. Christie now comes forward, his ball inside towards Billing, and Billing now opens up here for Bournemouth. He's got options left and right. He goes to the right to find Solanke. Solanke in the penalty area. What a recovery tackle that was from that far. Goal-saving challenge.
Well, we said Bournemouth create a lot of chances, but don't take many of them. And Solanke could have hit it a little bit earlier. Could have squared it back to Billing.
We've got just over 10 minutes remaining, and as whilst Pratt waits to come on, we're going to go back to Tottenham and Jonathan Overend.
Well, we have more. We have 17 minutes left here after a late start to the match and a late start to the second half as well. 1-1 it remains. Both sides are creating opportunities, though. Here's Kane threatening with a header from a Perisic free kick. It's tight. There could be a winner, but at the moment it's 1-1.
It's a game that realistically Tottenham need to win, with Newcastle United ahead at Brentford after Manchester United's victory at Old Trafford against Everton. It remains 1-0 to Bournemouth. Throw forward on that far side by Kelly. Ball inside, cleared then by Ndidi for Leicester City, all in royal blue, attacked by Ian Acho. His header will run midway through the Bournemouth half, and it's tidied up by Mepham, all the way back to Neto. Neto clears it away, right-footed. Christensen challenges Christie in the air. Lewis Cook trying to get away from him with Soumaré. Smith dives into the challenge. That's going to be a yellow card, I think. Smith just catching Soumaré. Get another update from Brentford, Katie Smith.
Yes, Brentford 1, Newcastle 2. Newcastle have been all over the home side in this second half. They've scored 2, an own goal by David Raya, Isak as well. Callum Wilson with one disallowed. Brentford just with a penalty shout there, but that is thrown away. So Brentford looking to keep their unbeaten record intact. Newcastle looking to go third. They lead 2-1.
Newcastle would go third. Both they and Manchester United 5 points ahead of Tottenham, and both Manchester United and Newcastle will have a game in hand on Tottenham Hotspur. Pratt waits to come on for Leicester City. Adam Sadler not wanting to make the change before this free kick can be taken. There were a couple of glances there by Maddison. It is going to actually happen now, and the player who's going to be coming off is Ndidi. So Dennis Pratt comes on, Wilfred Ndidi goes off. Leicester City, with 9 minutes remaining, make another substitution in a desperate attempt to salvage something from this game as they trail by 1-0. Bournemouth have got everybody back. It's midway through the Bournemouth half. Maddison hits it right-footed, floats to the edge of the area, and taken away from Daka by Christie. Christie then scythed down by Daka. That's got to be a yellow card. That has got to be a yellow card. There was no attempt to play the ball.
Well, just seen 2 minutes earlier, didn't he, where Maddison wins the free kick. That was a yellow card, and it's exactly the same challenge. Yeah, again.
Well, you asked for consistency from the referees. He was scythed down. That was one of the more straightforward decisions you would have thought. But anyway, he gets off, and he's very fortunate to get away with a yellow card. 8 minutes remain. Nottingham Forest need a response at Aston Villa. They're behind by 1-0. Newcastle lead at Brentford 2-1. West Ham United have a valuable lead at Fulham. Fulham 0, West Ham 1. Tottenham 1, Brighton 1. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. Up it goes to Solanke for Bournemouth, who still lead by 1-0. Here on this near side, Christie will win a corner for Bournemouth. Did well, actually. Didn't have much options on.
He's played well on this right-hand side for Bournemouth today, hasn't he? Given good balance, and he looks after the ball very well as well.
So Billing's going to come across to take it. Bournemouth have sent everybody forward in and around the Leicester penalty area. Every Royal Blue shirt is back inside that box as well. Looks like it's going to be an in-swinging corner kick this for Bournemouth. On this near side, the right, for Billing. Takes it, left-footed, goes very, very deep towards the far post, and unable to retrieve that was Stevens, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. We'll go back to Brentford. Katie Smith.
Oh, very close to an equaliser there for Brentford. Brentford 1, Newcastle 2 as a free kick far on the left-hand side. It whipped into the box off the back of Ivan Toney's head and scrambled away. We have just under 10 minutes left to play. Brentford 1, Newcastle 2.
We've got 7 minutes of normal time remaining. Solanke coming forward. He loses the ball. Bournemouth haven't won any of their last 7 trips to Leicester. Drawn 3, lost 4 since Boxing Day 1988, when Colin Clark scored the only goal of the game for Harry Redknapp, as Smith shoots, strikes the back of Farce, cleared away. Harry Redknapp was the manager then, as Christie wins it back for Bournemouth, overruns it towards this near side. Christensen will get there. The manager that day for Leicester, a certain David Pleat, and I'm told that Leicester were very unfortunate to lose on Boxing Day in '88. It wouldn't be unfortunate to lose today. Bournemouth will want the 3 points, that is for sure. 6 minutes remaining as the ball goes back. Stevens, just about game management now, these closing stages for Bournemouth?
Yeah, they're not normally in that position now, are they? So, but Leicester's had a little go second half, I've got to say, but just this last 5-10 minutes, Bournemouth have weathered the storm as such, and they're just, as you say, managing the game, keeping possession, slowing the game down, and it's up to Leicester to raise it again.
We talk about Leicester City's forthcoming games for Bournemouth. They've got Tottenham away next Saturday as they look towards Daka. Daka's onto that there, but Neto read it very well. The goalkeeper was already outside of his D, and he just cleared it first time out towards the far side. Bearing in mind he hasn't had a great deal to do. That was good concentration.
Yeah, he's played well. He's made good decisions.
But after Spurs, Bournemouth have got a run of fixtures then. West Ham, Southampton and Leeds. Teams in and around them as Farce hits a flat ball forward. Headed away by Stevens. Cook there in the midfield. There's been a goal now at Tottenham. Jonathan Overend.
Harry Kane for Tottenham Hotspur, who take the lead 2-1. He was presented with the opportunity on the edge of the box. So much space. It was almost like a penalty, and he drove it top corner. Tottenham 2, Brighton 1.
Here is Cook coming forward. Cook stopped by Farce. Shot fired in by Christie. That was blocked by Amate. So Spurs lead Brighton by 2-1. Aston Villa 1, Forest 0, Brentford 1, Newcastle 2, Fulham 0, West Ham 1, Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. And Bournemouth still leading here by 1-0 in the Scottish Premiership. There've been no other goals to tell you about. Aberdeen still lead Killie 2-0, Hearts down to 10 men 0, St Mirren 2, Motherwell 3, Livingston 0, Ross County leading St Johnstone by 2-0. And you're up to date with the goals as they go in. But here Bournemouth, with under 5 minutes remaining, have been awarded a free kick, which Cook is standing over, and a lot of the Leicester City supporters now are heading for the exits. They've seen enough. Cries of cheerio, cheerio from the Bournemouth travelling contingent. Like little and large down there for this free kick. Diminutive figure of Cook, towering presence of Billing. Free kick, right hand side, leaves it for Cook, right footed. It's an outswinger, bounces off a Leicester player. Christensen clears it, Maddison lays it off, and the ball then from Iheanacho, charged down. Bournemouth have it back once again. Billing prods it back, Cook lifts it forward, and then that downward header by Amate lets it settle and hits it long. Tete now takes over, central area, midway through his own half. Out it goes to Castagna on that far side, the right. He hits the ball early. Daka will give chase, one bounce, and it's into the arms of Neto.
Well, going off this game, you've got to say it's looking worrying for Leicester, isn't it? I mean, they've tried everything. They've threw subs on, they've changed systems. They just don't create enough. No. And they rely so heavily on Barnes and Maddison for that. And to be fair, Bournemouth today have done a job on them, and Bournemouth have really been comfortable all game.
3 minutes remain. Semenyo's going to be coming on for Bournemouth in the closing stages here, looking to try and see out this 1-0 lead that they currently hold. West Ham United are in a similar position at Craven Cottage. John Southall.
4 minutes to play, Fulham 0, West Ham 1, 2 chances for Fulham. Pereira just had to go round Fabianski and had an empty net, but the outstretched right hand of the keeper pushed it away. Tim Reams just had a header straight at Fabianski. Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
So Semenyo's going to be coming on, the Ghanaian international, to replace Solanke. Another game that is also 1-0 at Molineux. John Bennett.
Yes, Wolves have the lead. Chelsea, though, with their best chance of the game so far. Aubameyang, the substitute, 6 yards out. What a block by Craig Dawson. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0.
After Sports Report, we've got the commentary of Southampton, Manchester City. The golf's at 9 o'clock later on when the third round resumes at the US Masters in Augusta. Tomorrow, Ellen Road and Anfield are our destinations for 2 more commentaries in the Premier League before we go around the grounds on Easter Monday, and then the Champions League Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Europa League quarter-final to throw in on Thursday on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. But Bournemouth are edging ever closer to 3 precious points, and Leicester City will remain deep in trouble. Certainly Adam Sadler and Mike Stowell in caretaker charge once again. They can only just watch and wonder, and certainly fresh ideas. And if it is to be Jesse Marsh, what a job he has to try and turn this around for Leicester, because they have been very, very poor here today. 90 seconds remain of normal time. Tete plays it towards Samari in the centre circle. Christie hares after Christensen. He does enough to put him under pressure and force an error out of it.
They've done well, Bournemouth. They've played well as a unit, a team. I'd probably say Billen's been their best player, but they've been well organised.
Ball is hit long and rather hopeful towards Christensen, who chases after it. I mean, he's a willing runner, and he wins a corner off the legs of Adam Smith, and then at a half-empty stand away towards our left-hand side, he bellows at the crowd as they've now been awarded this corner kick that Maddison is going to take. We're inside the last 60 seconds. Maddison swings it over. Fast gets his head onto it. Billing heads it away. Semenyo will keep the ball in play, will he? Yes, he will. Clatters it away downfield. All now as to how much added on time there will be.
Well, you're going to look at 5 at least, aren't you? Substitutions, couple of injuries.
Ball forward, might drop to Christensen, edge of the area. He goes with a swinger, left-footed volley, off target, well off target. Bournemouth still lead 1-0. The cheers were from the Bournemouth support. Doesn't look, looks ominous for Leicester, doesn't it?
Well, if this is the way they're going to play at the end of the season, he's got to get the system right, whoever's coming in, whether it is it's 6 minutes of added time. So whichever manager comes in, if it is Jesse Marsh, I know he likes to play a high pressing game, he likes to be very fit. It's very difficult at this stage of the season to work on fitness as such, but it'll be interesting to see his game plan.
Well,
if it is him.
If it is him, of course. Judging by the amount of supporters who are heading for the exits here for Leicester City, they don't certainly carry out much belief that their side, or the faith that Leicester City can salvage anything in the amount of added on time that we've got, because there are a lot now of empty blue seats around the King Power Stadium. Bournemouth lead 1-0. Here is Christie, bounces onto his chest, being tracked by Christensen, plays it back towards Smith. It'll be a deserved 3 points for Gary O'Neill's side in a relegation picture that currently has Nottingham Forest, Leicester and Southampton occupying the bottom 3 berths. Southampton coming up against Manchester City, who are looking to try and eat into Arsenal's 8-point advantage for what would be an 8th straight win for Pep Guardiola's side. Commentary coming up after Sports Report. We'll hear Arsenal's response tomorrow at 4:30 on 5 Live. But the Bournemouth fans are already starting to celebrate. 3.5 minutes remain of added on time. Really only recall the Maddison effort that was tipped over by Neto.
That's it. Nothing else. He's had a few scrambles maybe. Decent balls across the goal, not many. Bournemouth have thoroughly deserved it.
Here is clearance from Nepham, downfield, offside against Semenyo. That'll be a free kick to Leicester. all about how much added on time now as the ball is played hurriedly forward towards Amate. Now to Tete, takes over, drops back inside his own half, being tracked by Kelly. Passes the ball to Fast looking tired, couldn't control it with an outstretched left leg. Christensen short of the halfway line, hits another hopeful ball forward, one bounce away from Daka.
A ball like that, Ian, you just nurse it into the corner. You don't think it's going to run out. You know, you make the defender, if he gets there first, make a decision. He kicks it out, you get a corner, you get a throw in. And that was a terrible pass.
Well, the only crumb of comfort will be the story of what Nigel Pearson achieved 8 years ago, because then Leicester City were in a much position of real peril back then, and they somehow managed to eke themselves out of it. But whoever takes charge, Leicester City are a club who are looking at the trapdoor to the Championship, and you wonder what the ramifications would be for that. That was an awkward fall for Billing, and the referee has to stop play because he could easily have banged his head at that time. It was a real awkward one for Billing, a shuddering.
Yeah, it's hurt his back, hasn't it, a little bit. I'm sure he'll be okay. He's had a very good game. He's probably been man of the match today.
Well, whilst there is a stoppage in play, we'll go back to Tottenham Hotspur and Jonathan Overhead.
Very tense, but at least for Tottenham the mood is buoyant around this magnificent stadium. They lead Brighton 2-1, but they've still got some hanging on to do, because we've got 2.5 minutes of regular time, and then one presumes a good deal of stoppage time, particularly after that altercation on the touchline, which saw both managers dismissed. Kane's goal puts Tottenham in front as things stand, 2-1.
And keeping in touch with Newcastle and Manchester United who won earlier 2-0, and Newcastle United who are still leading at Brentford by 2-1. Any sign of anything from Nottingham Forest at Villa Park, Pat Murphy?
No, Forest still 1-0 up, and they'll do very well to get a goal here, Forest, because they're playing the last 10 minutes of this game with 10 men, because they've used all their subs. Injuries have meant they've brought 5 players on and off. They're still leading Villa through that goal from Traore early in the second half. Villa 1, Forest 0.
That would be 1 win in 13 and 9 Premier League wins without a win for Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth now having to do some defensive work as play resumes, and the acrobatic efforts from Daka saved by Neto. There was no real power on the shot, and he made a comfortable save at his near post away to his left.
Well, you don't expect to score from there. Give him credit for hustling and make something happen, but didn't get a good contact, and it was going wide anyway. Easy catch for the keeper.
Bournemouth have lost 9 of their last 10 away from home in all competitions. This is going to be a real fillip in their fight to survive. Leading 1-0, we had at least 2 minutes for Billing. By my watch now, 5 minutes at the minimum of 6 that we're into. Maddison having his shirt pulled there by Smith, manages to release it out towards Amate on the halfway line, forward to Tete, offside, coming back from an offside position, and that will be a free kick to Bournemouth.
That's 2 or 3 times we've seen Leicester do that today. You know, when you're a kid, you're taught that very, very early in your life. Look along the lane, and yet you get professional footballers still doing it.
You can hear the Bournemouth fans celebrating. They are close, so close to a valuable 3 points here at the King Power. And Neto, the message is simple: go long. This is only going one way for Bournemouth. They're not going to be playing out from the back here now. We'll bring you reaction from the King Power into Sports Report coming up before commentary of Southampton, Manchester City. Ball does indeed go long, and very long, flicked on by Billing towards Semenyo. Semenyo now plays the ball back. Cook Intelligent plays it out towards Tavernier over on that far side, down towards the corner flag. Does he win a corner? No, it's a goal kick. Goal kick for Leicester City. We're into the 7th minute of added on time. But Leicester City, forlorn hopes now, urged on by the diehards who have remained. Just don't look like scoring. Here is Amate. Amate leaves it towards Tete. Tete hits it in towards the penalty area, headed up in the air by Mepa. Bouncing ball, come out towards Christie, brings it, lets it ride down his chest, and Christie wriggles away from Christensen. And Christie now coming forward for Bournemouth. He's got support from Cook. He'll hold on to the ball. He's done ever so well. He wins the throw.
He's played very well, Christian, on his right hand side, hasn't he? Up and down, uses the ball very, very well. And there's the time.
There is the final whistle, and what a boost for Bournemouth that leaves Leicester deep in trouble. The boos and the jeers tell their own story at the King Power, but Bournemouth were comfortable. A deserved 3 points for Gary O'Neill's side. They've won by a goal to nil. Chris Waddle.
Totally deserved it, Ian. Bournemouth being the better side all over the park. Leicester had a little go and they made the substitutions the last half hour, but apart from that, Bournemouth have been the best side. Thoroughly deserved win, and they go home happy.
Gary O'Neill's only gripe is that the margin of victory was not greater. Full time in the King Power, Leicester City 0, Bournemouth 1, who are out of the relegation zone.
A massive victory for Bournemouth. That noise at the King Power Stadium.